Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Racial Equity and Policing Commission meeting on January 12th at 5:30 p.m. We will start with the chief's update first, and then we'll move on to the formal agenda as presented. So let me share screen. Ready?
Okay, well, thank you, Michelle. It's good to see everybody, new commissioners. Very nice and welcome. Happy New Year. It is a happy, I was just teasing when I came in. We do have an update for you. We've been working over the Christmas break on the training component that we were talking about that was recommended by the commission. I had conversation with Chief Hahn. Remember Chief Hahn's a retired chief from Sacramento PD, a great man. He provided one of the best presentations on bias in policing that I've ever seen. So I asked him, I said, hey, would you mind doing something for us? Could you perhaps record it? Would you mind coming up to Salt Lake City, maybe presenting it? And I think what we landed on is the best thing for him would be to record a 1-hour session. And then we could customize it for training, and we can use it, as we want, because when we train the police department, 590 officers, you have to do it 20, 30, 40 times a year to get everybody there. So we could run this at different times for the training, and it'll take a while to get through, but he was very agreeable to that. Let me just kind of tell you what some of the topics that he felt like would be really good and were part of the presentation I heard. He said, I can cover in the 1-hour recorded presentation. We can talk about the history of African Americans, Native Americans, Chinese and Japanese Americans, and Mexican Americans. Law enforcement's role in this history. Connect history to the current day circumstances. We can talk about the modern reflections of our history. When we talked about the Coon Chicken Inn, we actually had here in Salt Lake City. Redlining history and origin, how it impacts today's environment and neighborhoods. Education on segregation, Native American boarding schools, law enforcement's roles in history and education. He uses the example U.S. Marshals with Ruby Bridges, Little Rock 9. Wanted to talk about implicit bias, discuss what it is and how we can, and what we can do. And then talk about today's law enforcement, discussions and challenges, and a way forward. So that's kind of what he was thinking. Commissioners, what do you think? Any input on that? You like that? Okay, he can do this we want to have a really nice professional presentation. He feels like he can rent a studio and do this down in Sacramento for around $9,000. Now, if we fly him up here with the airfare and stuff to bring him up here. So commissioners, that would be an ask that we would probably have to talk about and vote on, or you'd have to vote on. And if that's approved, then I'll give him a heads up. I did ask him, would you like to come to one of our meetings, log in and do maybe a quick 15-minute presentation so you can get a feel for it? I think you'd really enjoy it. But what are your thoughts on that? Any direction you want to give me?
Yes.
Okay.
I always have thoughts. I think it would be great to have him get introduced to this commission to get a better feel for exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then I think that'll make commissioners more comfortable with an ask like that.
Yeah.
I'll just proactively say, as a retired police officer with extensive background in training, used to be part of my job. Cops listen to other cops. So I think, not exclusively, but it's easier to digest, right? So I think having someone with a law enforcement background, having this conversation is an easier way get the officers to absorb that. And I'm excited that this would also be in conjunction with the other training that we're talking about, with community groups and,
Yeah.
and issues, racial and ethnic background specific to Salt Lake City. And I just see those dovetailing beautifully. So, some thoughts from
No, I appreciate that, Mr. Andrew, and that input. I agree. I've listened to a lot of different presentations. This one made a room full of chiefs from all over the country sit up and take notice because it was done very well. And it was coming from one of their peers, another chief, talking about these type of issues and how they affect our communities.
I think it's a really good idea, and I think I'd be really excited to think of, like, see this happen. I'm wondering if he records it and sends it to us, is it then the Salt Lake Police Department's like intellectual property to use over like indefinitely, or?
It'll be ours. Yeah, no, it's ours. He'll customize it for us. We can use it how we like. We can have him tweak it whatever we want. I mean, that's why some of the things that he's talking about, he would tie them right into Salt Lake City.
Being new, can I just ask a couple questions? So the first question is related to the budget. Does this committee oversee the budget, or where does that budgeting come from? And then the second question being, I'm just kind of curious, like why the background of the recommendation and what the goals are for the video. So.
Yes, and I can fill in the new
Okay.
commissioners on that. REP, this commission does have a budget, and we work closely with SLCPD in these different requests and asks. It was on the end of year report that specifically outlines, and I will bring you all up to speed, because I do know it is your first meeting, so this is overlapping from the year prior.
Great.
The reason for the video is that one of the recommendations from the commission was to have some training based around systemic racism, different biases that have been interjected into law enforcement over the years. And so we thought, once I heard Chief Hahn make this presentation, he takes it back from slave patrols all the way up into modern day, right into the communities that we're serving. And then Andy's going to talk a little bit about the next step is that we reached out to 3 different groups to come in and do in-person training. So this would be the introduction and to set the table for these groups to come in and finish out this training. So Andy, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so to add on to Chief Hahn's history of policing and implicit bias and how we move forward from that, we've also reached out to 3 other diversity, equity, and inclusion groups. One is legal advocate or equity advocates. They represent more of the NHPI national or Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander group community. I've sent an email to them and a request that they develop a 1-hour training session based around that community, the things that they have seen in policing and how we can work with our officers to better interact with that community. They seem really receptive to that, and they've agreed that they would be more than happy to interact with the police department and providing that training. So it will be, like the chief said, about 20 to 30 different training sessions. They'll be 1 hour each, and that is right on the back of Chief Hahn's presentation. Following that, we have another group called True Empowering. I sent them the same email and request. I haven't heard back from them yet, but they would cover our African American and Latino communities, doing the same training for our officers to better integrate there and to provide resources so that we can reach out to those communities and make headway there. The last one was Equality Utah. We've been working with Olivia Jaramillo. She's been phenomenal. She provided a great presentation for the LGBTQ+ community. And they have agreed that they would be thrilled to work with the Salt Lake City Police Department in developing that training. So altogether, we'll have about 5 hours of diversity, equity, and inclusion training, history of policing and implicit bias training as well.
No, so that's where we're at with the training, kind of an update to the new commissioners that we're excited about it. We've been working on this for almost a year, but we want to have a really good product that will make an impact. So
Sorry, I think I skipped ahead on one of those slides, but,
Oh,
so,
did you want
yeah, you can move ahead. So as you can see by the slide, we just covered everything I talked about. This next slide just gave the status updates. Still waiting to hear back from True Empowering, but we received notice from the other two groups that they're gonna be working with us. And I think that True Empowering will be working with us too. They have a representative that's here in Utah. So it'll be easy for him to come down and, do those trainings for the police department as well. We are still waiting on cost breakdown from each of the groups. So they're developing those proposals now, and once those are in, we'll present those to the commission along with Chief Han's proposal, so that we can see if all of you are willing and able to provide that funding for the training to go forward. Realistically, we're probably looking at September or maybe even January 2024 before those trainings will roll out department-wide, but just to keep that on your radar.
And then if you would like, when's the next meeting?
The next RUP meeting
Yeah.
will be February 9th.
February 9th. Would you like to see if I can have Chief Bond make that presentation? Or give you a flavor for what he wants to talk about?
I think it'd be extremely valuable.
Good.
Great.
Okay, February 9th. I will reach out and see if he is available. We'll just have him zoom in
And if you can't make that one, we have March 9th too. So if
February
you want
9th.
to give him just two. March.
I think he'll make February. We'll see. Okay. And then one more update. On Monday of this week, we started the academy for our police civilian response team. That was a recommendation of the commission. Those are the 10 new recruits that are in our academy. Yeah, there's some faces you know in there.
I sat in some of those interviews too, I'm saying my recommendations got selected, thanks for that, helpful.
There are, I'll just kind of go through, there are Chuck Gibbons, retired police officer. Debbie Finley is a retired police officer. Fred Lewis, another retired police officer. We have 2 dispatchers. We have 2 records clerks. And then another one was a hunting guide. And I think 2 explorers. And 2 are from our explorers group. So there's a lot of diversity there. There's a lot of female representation. They're really excited, and we hope to have them on the streets in the end of March. Start filling that role, augmenting our patrol.
It's great.
For those of you who are new to the group, so our police civilian response team, they won't be armed response, but they will respond to calls throughout the city, dealing with more of the lower priority, non-violent or life-threatening calls for service, barking dogs, traffic or vehicle issues, if their vehicle's broken down in traffic, that help with those. They also have a lot of our service tools, if any of the officers need help with forms, if their officers break or their vehicles break down, they'll be able to assist in that as well. But they will be very handy, and I think they'll fit in great with the police department.
Yeah, they have some special jacks that can be able to change tires. They'll have some special tools to do unlock cars and doors. It'll be kind of fun. Any questions?
And then this is a job, right? Not volunteer work.
Correct. That's a job. They're getting paid.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they are full-time employees.
Cool.
So we're hiring. Anybody's looking. All right, well, that's all we had for you tonight. But it was a pleasure to meet the new commissioners and be with you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for fitnessing so fast. We appreciate it.
And then if there's anything you need between now and next meeting, let me know. Okay.
And I will see for tomorrow meeting for the tree house. I think it's scheduled for this one.
Okay.
And then will we have numbers by then that I can kind of
On-
take back to the office for the trainers of the community-based presentations? Just their pricing and their proposals? Will that
I hope so.
Yeah, we hope so.
Right.
Yeah.
As soon as we do, I'll send it to you.
I just want to make sure on my end that that budget, it's there, but just getting
Yeah.
that to you all in a timely manner. Thank you both.
Yes. Okay, well, we're gonna run. We'll see you again.
We are going to continue on with the rest of our agenda. So we will just go back to roll call. So if I can have all of the commissioners go ahead and introduce yourself. We'll start with the people online. So we'll start with Commissioner
There was something in the background, was that, I don't know what that was. Okay. My name, I'm Commissioner McDonald. It's a pleasure always to be here.
And we have one of our new commissioners online as well, Commissioner Steve Calvert. Just go ahead and say your name for the record.
My name is Steve Calvert. Sorry, I'm in an airport right now.
No worries. I appreciate you being able to hop on, and then we'll go with our commissioners in the room. So we'll start with you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Commissioner Durante. I'm new.
Hello, Commissioner Alicia Satini.
I'm Commissioner Diego Leonard. Commissioner Julia Summerfield.
Steve Andrew Reed.
Verona Mello.
So those were all of our commissioners, and then we'll go to our guests, our public, from the public.
I'm Bree Ray, LQ.
Melissa Hart. And then we'll go with our city staff. My name's Michelle Mooney, Equity Manager, and then we'll move to Ashley.
Hi, everyone. Ashley Lickley, ADA Coordinator.
Hassan, did you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is Hassan Abdi. I work in the City Council office as a Public Engagement Coordinator.
Then my name is Maria Romero, Executive Assistant to the Chief Equity Officer. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for allowing that shift in the agenda. SLCPD had to get out of this meeting early, so we moved them up first. So I did want to welcome, and you heard from our new commissioners, all 4 of them are here. So last Tuesday, 4 commissioners got confirmed, and we still have 2 more awaiting their confirmations, which will be on the 17th, so next Tuesday. So warm welcome to you all. We are so excited to have your expertise on this commission. We welcome you, and I will catch you all up to speed, but basically everything that they're working on is in that end of year report in the orientation packet. And if you have questions, please let me know, and I can set up meetings as well, because this commission does work on a lot. So your questions are valid, and we want to definitely make you feel heard on this commission. Okay, next on our agenda, so we have open dialogue. During this portion of the meeting, commissioners may raise topics and discuss current events that may impact or influence the commission's overall work, discussions, and deliberations, to provide recommendations to the mayor and city council regarding the Salt Lake City Police Department's policies, budget, and culture. No action will be taken during this section of the meeting. Matters discussed during this section of the meeting may be scheduled on a subsequent agenda for follow-up. So at this moment, do we have any discussion for open dialogue? We'll move forward to public comment. With our guests here, do you all have anything you want to share?
Sure. We're with an organization called Act Now, and we're organizing listening sessions and an event called Breaking Bread, where we essentially have prominent people in the community, business leaders, government leaders, police, members of the police force, come to the table and dine with members of the community to talk about their lived experiences and the issues that we are experiencing in our everyday lives. And then from there, we help everyone gather together on a solution and push that solution forward, led by the community. And so.
Yeah, we're doing listening sessions, it's about every Tuesday right now for the next couple of weeks. We have a movie Quality Utah. It's next step. I'd love to do one with some line officers at some point. This group would like to do one. We'd love to do a listening session, and we gather that information and bring those as discussion topics to the Breaking Bread. And that will be held in April. We're looking to partner with Zions Bank at their Sandy office. It's kind of a really big space. We're bringing a lot of individuals. The governor and his wife have expressed interest in coming, and we've been given dates when they're both free that night to help facilitate some of the table conversations. So it's an exciting movement. We're in about 16 US cities. So we're just advocated to have them brought here in Utah. So we're excited. We'd love to have them come to dinner with us.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. And I do want to say that online, they are having a hard time hearing the conversation in the room. So if we can speak just slightly louder, there are microphones, but they're in the center of the tables.
Okay.
And please let us know online if you still can't hear us as we're moving forward. So we will move into the approving and adopting of December 2022 minutes. So do we have a motion to approve and adopt these minutes?
I'm making a motion to approve and adopt the minutes from December 2022.
Thank you,
I'll
Commissioner
second that.
McDonald. A second by Commissioner Carter.
Moving on.
Okay, all in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Thank you for your loyalty.
And any opposed? It has been moved and properly seconded. And then we already went through Chief's update.
Can I make a comment on that?
Yes, please do.
So to your question about the intended outcomes, right? Great question. So the previous 2 years of this commission, we've been trying to get our feet underneath us and what our niche might be and what some of the recommendations might be, right? And when you're looking at law enforcement reform, and particularly at the time of the intensity of the protests and the perception of the, well, accuracy, right? I'm not trying to minimize what was said, but we were trying to come together as a commission on what we ought to do, right? And I think part of us, we gelled quite a bit over those 2 years. I look forward to working with all of you as well. But there was a big gap on where we ought to be, right? And then to the point that we didn't really have consensus whether we should have police officers here with us having the conversation. Ultimately, we did decide that we wanted to do that, and it really illustrated the gap in the perceptions between how law enforcement sees themselves, and I'm generalizing, right? So and the way the community sees law enforcement and the work that they do. So the officers were really struggling with understanding what the problem was, because from their perspective, they're just out trying to do the best job that they can and serve the community, doing a dangerous job. And the perception of number of commissioners and anybody with that was there, please jump in, but was, okay, that's great, but you still represent an institution that has caused harm, right? And they're like, what are you talking about? And so the commission really felt that if we could get the officers to take a step back and look at the community and listen to the community, then we could come together and actually get some positive work done, right? So it's been about a year of trying to get some really good professional, I don't know if we're calling it DEI training, EDI training, Jedi anyway, and then Chief Brown heard this presentation from this chief out of Sacramento, and it just blew him away. And I think it was, I wish he were still here to comment on it, but it really had a huge impact on him, and I think helped him see what the rest of us are trying to talk about, how these officers have to understand this. So one of our stated goals of this is trying to change the culture of the department to be more community friendly and being able to engage with the community more effectively. And trainings like this, of course, none of us believe one and done is going to do it. It has to be, right? No one's like, hey, go watch this video for an hour and suddenly everything will be better. But I think that's why I said that piece about law enforcement officers listening to other law enforcement officers. I've said some pretty harsh things to the cops that have been on this commission that they can't tell me I don't know, because I've been a cop for 25 years, right? You can't say you don't understand. Well, I understand that we need to be listening and learning from the community, and we need to be doing better. And quite frankly, any institution that thinks that they're done evolving or trying to improve who they are is already backsliding. So I think, so in my mind, those two trainings will absolutely complement each other. And having this officer talk about the history of policing as a police officer is going to be hard for those officers who want to deny the reality of the situation. It'll be hard for them to say, well, no, you don't understand. And then I think that will open the door for these other instructors that we're trying to bring in who are community members, people who are talking about their experiences, similar to what you guys are talking about, sharing that lived experience, but you have to have the ear of the person who's being trained. And I really think that will be a nice compliment. So in our goal to shift the culture of the department, trainings like this can be a part of that outcome.
Thank you for that. And Commissioner McDonald, you have your hand raised.
I don't want to speak out of line of the order according to Robert's rule. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I know that we have moved on to approve the minutes, but I wanted to speak to what Steve, Commissioner, I can't pronounce your last name, Steve.
Try it, Darlene. Try it.
I'll try it when I have less people in the room. Was speaking to, and I probably should have brought this up during the public comment section, or when Chief Brown was here. But I think that I would be remiss if I did not bring up the incident that happened with former Jasper Donovan Mitchell and what was in the newspaper when he first came back here to Utah, and what was present in the newspaper for the last couple of days, speaking to his experience here in Utah and being pulled over by a police officer. Now, they did not say what force that was, whether that was in Salt Lake City, whether it's in Sandy, we don't know. He did not say. But that is the sort of thing, that's why we're here. That's why we're doing a training that Chief Brown spoke about. That is the very reason why we are having those trainings, to understand the history of law enforcement, as well as that, a case of racial profiling, of which can go very long, very fast. And especially if that person isn't Donovan Mitchell. So I don't see on the agenda where we can add new business, but that is something, and speaking to what Steve was talking about, we have to discuss that as a commission as to, because that's the core reason why we're here. Because that is how we got here in the first place. And what happened in the summer of 2020. And if that turns south very fast, and it can, very, very, very fast. So I don't, like I said, I'm probably speaking out of turn because we had moved to adopt the minutes. But I want to bring that up and piggybacking off of what Commissioner Steve had mentioned while he was speaking. But thank you for hearing me.
Thank you, Commissioner McDonald.
Thanks, John.
Are there any other comments? Just in response, and I know Chief really had to move, so that was already planned beforehand. But as questions come up, feel free to jot them down, email it to me, and I will make sure to get confirmation, just so you all know. The training portion, we will have a follow-up meeting for that at the end of this month. I believe it's set for January 24th with the subcommittee. So I will make sure to get more details then as well.
Is it, like I said, we don't know what happened with the Mitchell, incident, right? But I think it warrants a conversation with the police chief, or any chief for that matter, to discuss. Because the work that we are doing here speaks to what happened. And if that continues to happen, we are failing. We are not making the progress that we are here to make. If that continues to happen, and we don't know if that was, I don't know when Donovan Mitchell came on board. I don't know if it was post 2020. I have no idea. I don't follow basketball that closely. However, in order to succeed, that is a measure of our success. If we can avoid that sort of interaction between our communities of color and law enforcement, of which directly, exactly described the incident that occurred with Mr. Mitchell. So I think it warrants a discussion at the very least, whether it's with Chief Brown, whether it's with anyone. I don't really care, but we should have that discussion.
And I definitely agree with you. I think in meetings past, usually items like this were brought up, and usually they're here to respond to it. But I think this meeting was just, I can definitely bring it up as well, that this is something, but usually we do have, like, I guess it would be in the open dialogue section where you can bring it up, and usually SLCPD does stay for the entire meeting to answer those thoughts and concerns as well. I think today they just had a conflict, so I will make sure of that for future meetings that they are here. We will move on to our accessible meetings overview and ADC update by Ashley Lidley, our ADA coordinator.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Okay, perfect. I'll introduce myself again. I'm Ashley Lickley. I am the city's ADA coordinator, and I have a different presentation to share with you today than Michelle originally shared. That at the last minute, I pivoted a little bit. So I'm going to talk to you in the new year, and I hear there's some new commissioners. I just want to talk a little bit about accessible and inclusive meetings, both in the virtual space and in the physical space. Let's see, there we go. Okay, so the first thing is to ask. So any participants that are invited, whether it's members of the public or people who are specifically invited to meetings, ensure that they are able to request accommodations There's some language here that you can use. This PowerPoint, it says, we strive to host inclusive, accessible events that enable all individuals, including individuals with disabilities, to engage fully. To request an accommodation or for inquiries about accessibility, please contact a name, email, phone number, and then follow up on any requests that you receive. And if you're not able to fulfill that request, follow up with them still. This is just an example of accommodations that can be requested. There are others, but these are some kind of common ones. And Michelle will send this out, so you will have a copy of this to have as well long term. And then, so first was ask, and now is tell. Tell folks what accommodations will be already in place. Make sure to designate a contact person for requests. And then make note of any logistics that participants might need, such as accessible entrances, bathroom, parking, and other areas of use. And a big one for boards and commissions, this last bullet, if food is provided, ask people if they have any allergies or food sensitivities, and then ensure that that is communicated. And presentations, Michelle did already send out my accessible guide for presenters, my one-page cheat sheet. And that tells people to submit materials in advance, so that way they can be forwarded to individuals who need to access them prior to the meeting. Verbally describe visual materials, so if you have any slides or charts, have print copies available, better to have them in larger font. Avoid using small print on presentation. And then ensure speakers always use a microphone or whatever system to make sure that everyone can hear them clearly. And if they're not using a microphone, do exactly what Michelle did and just ask folks to speak louder. And then activate any captions on videos used in presentations. Okay, so in-person meetings. So for the location, there are a couple of items to consider with various disabilities. So if there's sight disabilities, hearing disabilities, those who use wheelchairs or have other mobility needs, adaptive device needs, and also access for service dogs. Those are all listed here. Some of them are similar to what I've already talked about, just ensuring that there's good signage and information on how people need to get to the meeting, well-lit spaces, and again, microphones or limiting unnecessary background music, noise, etc. And then accessible parking near the venue, proximity to the bus stop. So these are all kinds of things that we took into consideration, obviously, when utilizing the Cannon Room for public meetings like the REP meeting. Okay, virtual meetings for auditory accommodations using CART, which you've probably seen on meetings before, where someone is typing, translating the text, the speech into text for people to read as captions. Again, if you're showing a video, provide captions. Plan for ASL or other language translations accommodations as needed. Visual accommodations, make sure all content is readable by a screen reader, including the text content of a PowerPoint slide. Provide accessible copies as needed. And then provide multiple ways of people participating, whether that is through chat or verbally. And participants should have the ability to use the caption feature, listen to the recorded content at a later time. And also, this is something that I struggle with a lot, not speaking too fast. So having the opportunity to ask for folks to slow down when they're talking. And then meeting etiquette, introduce yourself before you speak. That's really helpful, especially if there are folks who might not be able to see who is speaking. And if you give a visual description, keep it brief and relevant to the context of the meeting. If using a slide presentation, this is another one that I did not do, read the slide number. And then also keep chat messages to a minimum because they can be distracting for screen reader users if they're trying to read something else on their screen, or if they're just trying to listen to the meeting and they're getting a lot of chats, their screen reader will be reading the chats and they'll be trying to listen to the presenter. So it can be a little distracting. Okay, and now I just want to chat a little bit about the Accessibility and Disability Commission annual report. I am the board manager for that. And so we were codified in February and had members appointed in April, and our first meeting was in May. In April, we had 12 commissioners actually 11 commissioners appointed. And then we had 2 more appointed, and we had a couple resignations. So now we're going to have 3 more to be appointed later this month for a full commission of 15. Very exciting stuff. We met with quite a few SLC departments and divisions in our 6 months of work. We got to meet a couple of times with transportation. We met with engineering, housing stability, sustainability, and we also had the pleasure of having Mayor Mendenhall at our 1 in-person meeting of the year, which was very exciting. Okay, the goals that we completed, we codified the commission, we created our policies and procedures, received all the necessary trainings, and we created a commission and SLC accessibility website. And I can put that in the chat or have Michelle send it. I guess I could have Michelle send that information to y'all if you would like that website. We have a couple in progress and ongoing goals. We're hoping to really build some staff capacity. One of the ways we're hoping to do that is by training Salt Lake City Airport employees on what to do when someone experiences a seizure in the airport. We're working on a closed captioning ordinance for all public TVs in Salt Lake City to ensure that more people can have access to public television. That ordinance hopefully will be heard in February. We're very excited and proud of that. We're hoping to work on more audible traffic signals throughout Salt Lake City and improve overall snow communication for access in the public right-of-way. Some goals that we had when we first started, but are not yet complete or ongoing. Free IRA software available citywide. That's a wayfinding software for people who are blind or low vision. They offer it right now for free in Washington Square and City County Building, and I believe the airport, and they would like to see that expanded. Increase audio description showings at all theaters in Salt Lake City, and then improve communication and pedestrian access through construction zones in the public right of way. That's an ongoing battle. 2023 goals, we're going to continue doing the work that we've been doing. We're hoping, our plan is to partner with you all to facilitate a neurodiversity subcommittee. We're also working with the emergency management department for better preparedness for people with disabilities. And then overall, we're just hoping to do more staff capacity building on items related to disabilities. And that concludes the presentation part of my presentation. So I'm open for questions now.
I just want to say thank you very much for putting that together. It was very clear for me. I think one of the things that I would add maybe, and I would try to have it go into the building for the in-person meeting rather than the Zoom. I'm kind of still stuck on the whole pre-COVID, the COVID thing, but I'm trying to make my way out of it and get back into in-person meetings. But it would help, because I am hearing impaired. I wear hearing aids, and for me, it's I read lips. But because the camera is stationary in the meeting room there, in the conference room, if there's not a way to move the microphone around so that we can hear people, it might be helpful to maybe purchase more than one. That way we can hear people at the far end of the table, because we can't see their lips. So I can't read their lips. So I have to really try to just pay close attention to what they're saying, but it's really difficult.
Yes, Commissioner McDonald, I totally agree with you. This is the first time I've been on this end of a commission meeting and on Zoom rather than in person. And I noticed that there is a really difficult kind of barrier for hearing what everyone is saying. So I will definitely be looking into that for sure. Thank you for that recommendation.
City have, what is it, like the owl?
Owl cameras, I don't think.
The working.
Owl cameras are like, they like show you like the person that's speaking, it's motion activated. They're really expensive, but they're like.
City got money.
I mean, Ashley looks like she's writing it down there, so I'm
Please
assuming
do.
we don't have
I think
it.
every meeting I sit in and they have this issue, I'm like, you need the owl.
I'm still writing down the microphone thing, but Michelle, if you can take down, because again, the hearing is a little harder on Zoom, but if you can take down the technology that was just mentioned, I would love to look into that. Y'all don't be thinking I have some sort of big budget though, because I do not. I can't promise anything, but I will look into it.
Okay.
If you
This is-
don't have any other, oh, go ahead.
This is Commissioner Calvert, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for your presentation. It was absolutely fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. And if any other questions or ideas or trainings that you want come up relating to people with disabilities, accessibility, et cetera, please reach out to me. The easiest way to reach out to me is ada@slcgov.com or through Michelle, whichever way works. But I'd love to stay connected with y'all. And that's all for me, Michelle.
Thank you, Ashley. And this presentation was kind of in place, as you know, one of Mayor's priorities is to begin the sensory needs subcommittee, which we want to kind of focus under that, which I believe we discussed in past meetings, the mental health aspect, also just disability in general. So with that, I can see a collaboration with the ADC, and I wanted to start that introduction early. Just so we have that connection, you all feel comfortable going to Ashley for any ADA needs. Ashley does also facilitate and manage the Accessibility and Disability Commission as well. And what that looks like, we'll discuss more about that, and I want to get everyone's opinions here of what that subcommittee will look like, but we'll touch base on that under subcommittees. We'll move on to nominating and electing a chair and vice chair. You may have noticed I'm speaking a lot during this meeting, and I don't want to do that. I love to do it, but this meeting is for you all, so we do want to accept nominations on the floor for a chair and vice chair.
I nominate Steve for chair.
You talking to me?
Yes.
Just like that, huh? I should remind this group that, my time on the commission has expired. And I'm only here through the duration of the ARPA committee, the COVID grant committee on which I'm serving. So that will expire in April. And then I won't be eligible to be on the commission anymore. So nice try, Darlene, but I won't be here to fulfill the term, so I should probably decline. Thank you.
Well, then I would nominate Tanya Hawkins as chair.
And Tanya Hawkins, she isn't with us today. She had a board meeting that she wanted to attend. However, she serves as our current vice chair. And Nicole, who's on camera, is our current chair.
And I'm so sorry, guys. This meeting has gone way longer than I expected. And I had to step out of it. They're still going. I'm so sorry.
Are there any other nominations for chair?
Can I second that nomination?
Yes, you can second the nomination. It makes my job easier if we can get someone in place. Did you say?
Oh, no, I second that.
You second, everybody? Okay, so Tanya Hawkins, chair. So now we do need a vice chair. Are there any nominations for that?
I nominate Tini.
I second that nomination.
Okay. Do you accept the nomination? Do you want to know more about what they do? Nicole, maybe it'll come better from you. You want to share more?
Okay, sorry, it's hard to find the unmute button on my phone. Sorry, I left my laptop in the other conference room. Yeah, so the chair and vice chair, it's been additional meetings every Friday. And we discuss what the agenda is going to be for the next meeting, the goals, priorities of the commission. It's pretty straightforward. I got to say, I think the chair does more of the heavy lifting than the vice chair, but the vice chair does step in when the chair is unavailable. Like tonight, if Tanya and I were still in place, she would take over for me and lead the meeting. I think it's a great role. I think you do a great job.
Yes.
Did you say it was every Friday?
Yeah, so it's actually bi-weekly. And we, and Nicole can second this, there's many meetings that we do it as needed. I believe for their availability, Fridays were the best, but it's whatever works for the chair and vice chair. And those meetings would just be with me. And that's just, I come with the agenda already. It's just like, do you have any input? Also, they get the say on who gets confirmed on this commission as well. So they see those applications, sign on the letter of support, and basically the chair and vice chair will lead these meetings. So if Tanya can't make it, then you essentially would lead the meetings, but everything will be outlined. You're just facilitating kind of like what I'm doing.
And what's the term? A year?
Yeah, a year. We elect a new one every year, a chair and vice chair. You're fine with it? Okay.
These guys all me dinner, so.
I know. No, it won't be really, like I said, even when Moana was doing this, we believe in having meetings, not to just have meetings. Like if something can be canceled, then please, because we understand that you all are busy, but we do want that chair and vice chair in place. So that would be
There are times we agreed on the agenda just based on an email.
Yes.
So it's a very efficient sort of philosophy that Michelle and her predecessor both have.
Yes. I appreciate that. We'll put it to a formal vote. And I know it's kind of awkward. We're thinking of a new process where it will be a blind vote. I know it's awkward to vote for someone, but just to get them in place for the next meeting, do we have a motion for the chair and vice chair?
Have you talked to Tanya? Is she open to this?
I talked to Tanya about it and she's on board. I'm not volunteering her. She
Yeah.
knows.
Well, it's the curse of missing a meeting, right? And then
Yes.
you know you're the chair, so.
No, she was aware. We've had text communication that there was kind of something. I think moving forward, we want that to kind of be a standard. If the vice chair can move up just to keep that like longevity in a way, that's how we want to kind of do it.
100% support
Yes.
it, just checking.
Yes. So if we have a motion to have Tanya Hawkins as chair and Lycia Satini as vice chair, who wants to make a motion?
My motion to have Tanya Hawkins as chair and Lycia Satini as vice chair.
I second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
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 I,
Okay, it has been moved and properly seconded. We have our chair and vice chair, and I will let Tanya know. Tanya really does know though. We would not say that. We had to prepare her last year to kind of see. But yes, okay. And thank you, Nicole, for hopping on.
Thank you. I'm so sorry, guys. I was really annoyed at this last minute meeting. I've got to run though and get back into the conference room. Someone already ran in to check on where I was. So congratulations. I'm happy to help with whatever we need for a trade-off. I don't even know if we need to do like a passing of the torch sort of thing, but I'm always happy to help out with that.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good
Yeah,
night.
Good to see you, Nicole.
Have a good night. Okay, and the last thing on our agenda is to just review subcommittees. Okay, so subcommittees are another thing I strongly believe in. These meetings are as needed, but what we do need is a time for these meetings to take place, but also primarily I just need to know who is serving on these subcommittees. So training, it was Tanya and Reverend Davis. As we know, Reverend Davis is off this commission now. He will finish his last final thing, which is the follow-up meeting on the training, but we will let Reverend Davis go in peace and continue with all his other duties. I don't believe anybody else served on the training subcommittee, but does anyone have an interest in the training subcommittee? And again, for our new commissioners, the training subcommittee does serve as basically, so what they did last year was they were able to sit in on the community-based presentations with the organizations SLCPD brought up earlier. They got to have a say in kind of who gets selected. And basically it's everything dealing with training. So even when the curriculum gets developed, same thing. The people on this subcommittee will have insight and be able to state what they feel about the curriculum, help them, not really help them develop it, but basically just have a say on what's being done. So that's basically what training is in a nutshell. So does anyone have interest in this subcommittee?
I would still like to be on the training. I was on the training class when I would like to stay there.
Okay, Commissioner McDonald, okay.
I would love to help on that training committee if that's a possibility.
And Commissioner Calvin. And I'll confirm with Commissioner Hawkins, but I think that's good just to, I want to kind of spread out the subcommittee. So we'll stop there with those three. Okay, policy and practices subcommittee. This is a really big subcommittee. This is a big one. And I'm still envisioning of what this will look like. But essentially, these are anything in terms of SLCPD's policies and practices, and just SLCPD culture. So does anybody have an interest in that subcommittee?
I'd have interest in that. I don't know what it really entails.
Okay. Yeah, so it's very big and we will dive more into it. So Commissioner Summerfield will be on that subcommittee and Commissioner Durante.
If you want to have two new people.
Yeah, well, this subcommittee kind of, training was the only one that was kind of moving, and school safety. So that's two. Anybody else for policy and practices?
I just have a question really
Yes.
quickly. So just being on these subcommittees, like, are there certain meeting times that they're all at different meeting times?
Yes. So on the agenda, I have the meeting times that they had from last year, and this can be changed. I just don't know if it works for the majority. And they were scheduled monthly, however, like I said, I am a strong believer in if we don't need to have a meeting, we're not gonna have a meeting. So most of them will probably meet as needed, but it's good to have that time scheduled because everyone already has it on their calendars. I just left it there. If that still works for the commissioners on those subcommittees. However, I will send a follow-up email after this meeting to just confirm dates and times, and it's usually a monthly meeting. And speaking of meetings, this commission is a special commission in the sense that they get paid for every meeting you attend. So prior to this, the commission was paid on just their involvement on the commission. However, now it'll be recorded attendance and you get paid per meeting. So if you have 2 subcommittee meetings that month, you'll get paid for both subcommittees as well as this regular meeting. So that's kind of the process moving forward that I did want to share with you all. So it's not just a standard price like, okay, you came, it's really by attendance of what meetings you have been at. Just to be fair and equitable there. So we'll keep those for policy and practices for now. And then there's the school safety subcommittee. I believe our former chair, Nicole Salazar Hall, serves on that committee. Is there any other interest? You have interest, both of you? Okay. This is perfect too.
Which one? Which one is this one?
School safety. So they work closely with, our senior education advisor, Jennifer Newell, in the MOU for school safety, but also work closely with evaluating the SROs, which are our school resource officers. So that was 3 of them.
How many do you have on there?
Yes, that's 3.
Do you want to join? Because Nicole, she's very busy, but I know she's passionate about what they've been doing and been helping.
For school safety?
Yeah, for school safety. Yeah. You want to join that one? And commissioners.
It says on here 3rd Monday of the month. That's what we got for meeting.
If it works, but if it doesn't, I'll reach out to everyone per sub. This is just from last year. It would be nice if it works, but if it doesn't work, then we can find a time and do the poll. But that's why I want to get the names of who's on each committee, so I could just do individual outreach for that. We'll skip by application review. However, application review is essentially the application review for this commission. And right now we are at, or after the 2 additional people get confirmed, fingers crossed that they do next Tuesday, we will have 14 members on this commission, which is exciting. The last member does have to be a member from the Human Rights Commission by ordinance. The Human Rights Commission needs to have at least one, but no more than 2 on this commission. So we will have a full commission and I'm very excited about that. It's been hard, but we're here and we made it, and we would need to look for a replacement for Steve once his term ends or fully ends in April as well. So we'll skip past that for now, just because I don't think we'll be looking at any applications. I'll probably bring it up in a future meeting. But what we do need is our mental health, sensory needs, accessibility, in terms of how that's outplayed in policing. And this will be a new subcommittee. And this subcommittee, we are thinking we will include 2 commissioners from the ADC. So if we can have at least 2 to 3 from our commission, but essentially we would lead these efforts because Mayor Mendenhall's vision for this is how this plays out in terms of how the police interactions with individuals who may seem that they have a sensory need, accessibility need, or mental health issues. So does anyone feel passionate or interested in this subcommittee?
I'd like to serve on this committee.
Okay.
I don't know if you can allow me to help out on 2, but I'll do that if you need.
Okay, then we have Commissioner Calvert. I would say if you can join as many subcommittees. I don't think there was a limit. I think everyone overlapped a lot. But just be mindful of what you already have on your plate. Did I see another hand here?
I was gonna say I'd possibly be interested in it, but the timing matters a lot to me. So do we have no clue when it's gonna happen, or is it like?
Oh, no, so it's up to you all and who can meet, and there are officers on each subcommittee, but this is a new subcommittee, so based on just kind of putting a filler out there, do these first, second Monday, how it's presented on the agenda, does that kind of work right now? Is that how you all are kind
They
of?
don't have a date on that one.
I know, that one doesn't.
The
mental
one
health-
for the school safety.
That one like works, the other ones do work, because I can keep it consistent with Mondays. And that mental health sensory needs can be on the
For
first.
school safety, yeah. 4 p.m. is a little close to the end of school, but yeah.
And these are virtual
When you
meetings
want
too,
school
subcommittees are all
Yeah.
virtual.
Does that work for you?
What?
Monday 4 to 5.
Does it work for you? If not, we can.
No, I'll go.
Does it not?
I mean,
We
it's
can do it
tight,
after
but-
5, but
It works. I also wonder if we could just like consolidate some of them, like is this space available before 5:30 on Thursdays?
oh, so all subcommittee meetings are virtual.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
all of them are virtual.
Okay.
That's how I've seen it, and I don't mind keeping that virtual. I just, more so for these general meetings, it would be appreciated if we all can be in person. The discussion is just way better. But it's virtual for the subcommittees for sure. That's what I'm definitely leaning towards. And they don't usually go the whole time. You can see like training, they only have a 30-minute meeting schedule. It really depends on that meeting. And I have to follow up for school safety with Jennifer Newell as well, because she does attend those meetings as well, because that's a big role.
Yeah.
But if you all have different times, would it be best to send out an email and doodle poll to each subcommittee? to
No, we
figure
just
out-
agreed that that was a good time,
It is, the
Yeah.
third Monday, 4 to 5? Okay.
unless
Well,
it
that makes
changes on
that
that,
easy.
yeah,
No, that makes it easy, so
Yeah.
I can
let her know.
How about the other subcommittees, policy and practices?
It is,
I'll jump on the training.
You wanna jump on the training?
Yeah, I was on school safety, but the meeting time's too tough for me.
Yeah.
But training meeting time works for me.
Okay,
do you want me to overview policy and practices, the commissioner?
Yeah.
So it's Commissioner
Unless you guys want to
Summerfield,
change the meeting time.
Commissioner Catherine.
I know it's tight, during all your
I'm fine with the
practices.
time.
You're fine with the
Yes,
time?
yeah.
I'm talking big right
Mondays
now.
work better.
and
until
Commissioner
I know
Summerfield,
it's-
are you comfortable with the time for policy and practice?
The second Monday of the
Yeah.
month? Yeah.
Okay, so for the individuals on mental health and sensory needs, would keeping consistent with the Mondays, with the 4th Monday work,
That works for me.
works, and then what time?
Any time Monday.
Anytime? Do you wanna keep the 4 to 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
If it doesn't work for someone else, I'm open to changing the time.
Sorry, my brain is
So
everywhere.
that includes Commissioner, Steve Calvert and Commissioner
Verona.
Burrow.
Yes.
Add me to that one.
The mental
mental
health, okay. I appreciate it.
It's part of my other job.
Oh, good, no, yes, like, I want you.
I was like, it's dual hat.
No, if you have expertise, please, because I think it would, Mayor really wants to see this come to life. And I really have been having meetings with Ashley Lickby, our ADA coordinator. It will really be the heavy lifting from the RDP. We will have the ADC's insight, because they are working on a lot, as you see, but they work on more so, instead of like policy, it's more like physical action that they need to have happen. So this is, they don't even have subcommittees, so for them, this is new. So I will take any and all expertise. Okay. So tentative closed session. Does anyone feel like we need to have a closed session for anything at this point in time? Then all the meetings are at the bottom, and we can get a motion to adjourn. That's all the items, unless anybody else has any other comments.
Can you just repeat the dates of the meetings again,
Yes,
for now?
all for the subcommittees,
Oh, no, not that subcommittee.
subcommittees. So training,
Mm.
all of them? Which one?
Oh, sorry for me.
Huh?
So the mental health one,
Yes.
say it again,
We're gonna
tentative.
fourth Monday of the month from 4 to 5 p.m. Commissioner Calvert, does that work for you as well?
Yes, that'll work.
Okay, perfect. So.
I'm in the
mental
air
health-
now, so I may lose you.
Oh, okay, we are wrapping up, so if you need to leave, feel free to, we don't need quorum for anything else. And then you all will notice, just really quickly, the commission meetings for 2023, we will no longer have a December meeting. Our last meeting will be in November. I want you all to enjoy the holidays, and we do the same thing with the Human Rights Commission. I mean, they have Human Rights Day, but no meeting. I feel like if we can get everything voted on that end of year report in November, it will be fine. And like I said, I wanna respect everyone's time on this commission because I do value everyone who serves on this commission. And I wanna be respectful of that. So December, we no longer have a meeting. And then July, we still have that recess, which I believe that was already an ongoing thing. So 10 out of the 12 months, you will have meetings, and the other 2 you will not. So all of that is on the bottom for you all. And I will update the calendar invites because we just have to make some changes to the officers on it, and we've had a shift in city staff. So don't think the general meetings are canceled, it's just kind of gonna be an edit, so it might ask you to re-accept the invite for that. We can get a motion to adjourn the meeting if there's nothing else.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
A second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? It has been moved and properly seconded. Thank you all for your time, and I will see you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone online. Thank you, Hassan, for coming.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Calvert, Commissioner McDonald. Have a great night.